Good evening, everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to a special event here with Invictus Racing League. This is the showcase event that will be happening right now and tomorrow at 8 o'clock as well. And Invictus are proud to be racing as part of this wonderful track. In terms of, we're at Spa-Francorchamps, of course, and it's absolutely chucking it down. But we'll also be racing with 3 other leagues tonight just to showcase how good the leagues are run, how well the drivers are, and also to, above all, show this community spirit that we have in our esports leagues. Joining Invictus Racing tonight, we also have League of Ireland, we have the European Racing Organisation and Contest of Speed. Those are the other leagues that are joining in for this evening. And right now, all we can see out on circuit is nobody because it's chucking it down and we've got a little bit of time before we go. Now, for tonight's event, you obviously want to know a little bit in terms of the drivers who we are having representing us this evening. We have JPH99, of course, the 2-time Tier 3 champion on F122. It'll be fascinating to see how he adapts to these wet weather conditions. We have Nitrogash, we have SFR Martin, who's Tier 2 driver, a very competent driver. Nitrogash, of course, don't want to skip over him, a multiple race winner in Tier 3, and Ginger Tiger as well, a race winner, of course, in Tier 2. So a nice mix of drivers for this evening, but currently we are waiting for cars to go out on circuit, and we have X427. Now, just to give you a little bit of an overview of who is racing for which team, it's quite difficult to discern, of course. The Invictus Racing League drivers will be in the McLarens and the Alpines, so just keep an eye on those. Those are our teams. League of Ireland, they are for the Ferraris and the Alfa Romeos. The ERO, the European Racing Organisation, have Mercedes and Aston Martin. Contest of Speed have Red Bull and Alpha Tauri. And currently we have one of the COS drivers on track, just coming towards turn number 10 at Bruel. And you can see how difficult the conditions are. For those that don't know who I am, by the way, I'm Jack TM53. Typically race in Tier 3, but finally able to get myself into the commentary booth with Invictus Racing League. It's a pleasure to be here around this wonderful circuit. Spa is fantastic. I'm sure everyone who's watching will agree. But let's see how the drivers adapt to the conditions. We've got Ennis, who's come out. We've got Cam Tizzle and 2 Spell Wizard out on track 2. But if you're watching, do put a comment in below. Just, you know, any support for the drivers, of course, is always well welcomed. And especially for our 4 drivers out on the track. I haven't said that, all of them are currently in the pits at the moment. So we'll wait to see who else is coming out. That's Nitrogash. So good news, the 2 McLarens are coming out in formation. There they are. That's Ginger Tiger and Nitrogash both coming out on circuit. But of course, you know, Spa, well steeped in history, lots of wet races, the memorable races that everyone can remember around this circuit. 1998, of course, with David Coulthard crashing out at turn 1, wiping out half the field. And plenty more from the earlier days in the 1960s when Jim Clark used to race around here in the Lotus. And our drivers now in F123, they've got to try and measure themselves around this 4.3 mile circuit. 20 corners around Spa as well. So the drivers will have to navigate these on the quite difficult conditions. Not only that, with the blue Pirelli wet tyres, you can see those on the right hand side. We're just following the 2 McLarens, of course. I'm looking to see SFR Martin has now emerged out of the pits as well, which is good news. And just obviously JPH99, the only other driver from our Invictus Racing League drivers who will be in this 50% race afterwards, as Ginger Tigers runs a little bit wide there out of Stavolo at turn 15. But I do hope that we get a lot of action tonight. We don't know, of course, what the weather will be for the race right now. The driver's having to pick away through the puddles. But I'm going to ride on board with Ginger Tiger. Why not? He's going to be the first driver for IRL to settle out. So let's follow him as he comes out of the bus stop chicane. Approaches turn 1, La Source. Difficult a hairpin to get right in dry conditions. Up into 7th gear, braking down into 3rd. Briefly down to 2nd, short shifts to 3rd just to tame that wheel spin. It's X427. Oh no! Ginger Tiger's in the wall. That's an absolute nightmare. We've lost one already. So we'll crack on and go over to Nitro Gas. He's approaching this infamous Eau Rouge and Radion. A little bit of a lift for the McLaren through the fast left-right over the top of Radion. Completely flat in the little right-hander in these wet conditions. Not typically a corner. And then he'll come on the brakes. 4th down to 3rd gear for Nitro Gas. Up to 5th gear as he goes through Les Combes. But tiptoeing his way through. Doesn't want to go anywhere near those curbs, of course. And then on the brakes. 3rd gear, 2nd gear at Bruel. Back up to 3rd. Nitro just using all of the gearing that he can. He took a wonderful race victory last season in Tier 3, did Nitro at Brazil. Using all of his experience here. Turn number 12 at Pouan. Nice and steady from the McLaren, no problems so far. And then again around this next sort of chicane at Campus, if you want to call it a chicane. It's a bit more elongated. And then just has to navigate Stavolo down to 3rd gear, up to 4th, short shifting again. As Lucky Nutshot goes provisional pole. I'm going to call him Lucky from here on 4th. And this has been a relatively tidy lap from Nitro so far. He's got to go almost went flat around Blanchimont. Decided better of it. He's got stopped nice and early for the chicane. This has been a pretty decent opening gambit from Nitro. Going to be a 2-minute 1. He stops the clock out there. So 5th place for him at the moment. We've got King Papa just flying up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Of course, with the wet weather around this circuit, the drivers will have a couple of laps to be able to set with the wet weather conditions. The ERS won't be used as much, so rather than the dry qualifying session as Sanko joins his teammates in the Alfa Romeo on the front row of the grid. But going back to my point, ERS usage around here won't be as heavy thanks to the wet weather, so the drivers can maybe have another 2 or 3 laps potentially before they've got to try and recharge those batteries. 2-spell Wizard goes across the line. And that's Gio who goes to the top. And that's a fantastic lap time from the Mercedes representing ERO, of course. That's a good effort. Almost a second clear of his teammate who's just crossed the line. So looking very strong already. Look to see where Martin is. He's just rounding the final corner and coming across the line. And that's a good effort from the Alpine. That's what we want to see. Up to 4th place on the second row of the grid. 1.2 seconds off that Mercedes. JPH, he's also coming out of the final corner. He has not set a lap time, so we'll follow him on this broadcast camera as he goes through turn 1. It's got one of the Ferraris coming out. That's one of the League of Ireland drivers. I want to suspect it would be Spider-Man. Don't know if he can shoot any webs around this track, but we'll see how he gets on. Who else is around on circuit at the moment? You've got SFR, obviously, he's already set a lap. Sanko, I think he's going to be coming back into the pits. King Papa's just come across the line. He's 6th in the Ferrari. X427 is there as well. There's one of the yellow flags just around Puon, but it's one of the Mercedes just going slowly more than anything else. Matty Robbo in the Red Bull. Looks like he might be building up to a lap. Oh, he runs very deep at the bus stop, and I think he will. You'll see the ERS get used as he comes across the line. There it goes. So we'll cut to JPH in sector 2 at the moment, round Puon. His second sector time will flash up shortly. He has to navigate these right and left. And that's one of the Red Bulls going on to the intermediate tyres. Does look a little bit drier now compared to when the session first started. So that's the green walled tyres that you can see. We're on board with JPH. He's on the blue wet weather tyres. Just on a 128 coming out of the right-hander at turn 16, Paul Frere. See all the spray coming off the front left and right of the tyres there. That's how wet it is at this part of the circuit. A couple of the drivers going to the intermediate, so certainly... Ooh, JPH just runs deep at the bus stop. He's going to have to be very tentative on the throttle, which he is. Looks like it's going to be a 2-minute lap time, and it is indeed. Puts him 11th, 2-minute.7. Only a couple of attempts in front of Nitro, but that is what you'd expect from two Tier 3 drivers. So those two very close together. Cam Tizzle is out on the intermediates. He's the first driver to have gone out on that compound. Ennis is also doing the same for the Mercedes team with European Racing Organisation. Distinctive pink helmet he's got there, but let's watch him as he comes through turns 8, 9 and down to Bruel at turn 10. Just keeping his nose clean at the moment. That's a good effort from Nitro Gash in the McLaren, up to 5th place. That's a very good effort. So definitely found some time. Whether the wet conditions are now indeed getting a little bit drier, allowing the drivers to put a little bit more throttle down, certainly going to help him. Got Ennis as well. He's just behind one of the excuse me, one of the Alpha Tauris. He's just going to sit in behind. He's on his outlap at the moment. Gio is going to come across the line. He's gone even quicker on a 155.7. Conditions certainly improving, but Gio decided to crack another effort on the wet tyres. That's an impressive speed. He's found another second over his teammate Ennis, who's now swapped, of course, onto those intermediates. Lucky Nuts in the pits. Martin's coming in. I imagine Martin's going to put the intermediate tyre compound on. A number of drivers now in pit lane at the moment. But Cam Tizzle has started his lap, and this is the driver that I'm interested in. Good lap from Spider-Man. Puts him on the front row for now. 56.4. We've got 5.5 minutes remaining in this session as Cam goes right the way up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Very committed through there. Down this long Kemmel straight. 204 miles an hour. Cam was nudging. It's nice and tidy so far. How will he get on with Bruel? A typical good test of whether your car is working nicely and keeps it really well planted, the Cam around there. Nice traction out of the corners. And at turn 11 as well. Towards Puon. Just increasing the throttle. You can just see the throttle gauge. Then it goes completely flat. Yellow flag out there, but that's just for a slow Mercedes, not anyone who's crashed out. Most of the grid now are on the intermediate, so that's certainly the right time to do so, and it's all about getting your times right. Cam is 5 seconds up on his best lap at the moment. That would put him on for a 157, but he's just gone purple through sector 2, so the intermediate's certainly working at this point of the qualifying session. Only 4 minutes and a bit to go now. Got to get the car stopped. Always difficult after doing such a good lap. And he does indeed. That's a really good spot your braking moment for Cam. Nice and steady out of the hairpin. And what's that lap time? It's a 56.1. That puts the Red Bull up into second position in the COS. Fan club will be ecstatic with that. A couple of drivers just coming into the pit, and that's the wet weather drivers. So they're all out getting a new set of boots on. Everybody else just working their way through their outlaps. That is X427 going up. So 2 cost drivers in the top 3. Just watching Ennis, he's 2.3 seconds up. So this is going to be enough for pole, providing he keeps up the rate that he's doing at the moment. Mercedes flies towards Blanchimont. 200 mile an hour. Will he lift just a little bit to get the nose turned in? Brakes just before the 100 metre marker, down into third gear. Keeps a low rev through there, keeps the car nice and straight. And then exits out of turn 20, and it is pole provisionally. It's a 54.7, and he's a second clear of Gio, who set his pole lap, of course. Don't forget, he was on the wet weather tyres when he did that. So Gio will have some time to find, and everybody else is doing so. There's Looking Up coming into the chicane. He's not on a lap at the moment. SFR Martin on his out lap, as is Nitro Gas, JPH as well. It's all about finding the right time to come out of the pits and be in the best place possible to set a lap. So Martin is probably doing the right thing at the moment. He's in a good position, rounding this final corner. And he's going to go on to his first lap. So let's see how much improvement he can make with those intermediate tyres. Out of the first corner. Nicely done. Out of turn 2, that little right-hander is classified as a corner, for those that don't know. Up to Eau Rouge. A little bit wide, but he's got away with it. And then down the Camel Straight. And he's a second up at the moment, so this is positive for the Alpine. Really good driving so far for Martin, showing that his tyre choice is the correct one. Nitro Gas, I'm just watching to see how he gets on across the line. He's 7 tenths up in the first sector, so that's worked out well. So see where the other Alpine of JPH is out on circuit. There he is, he's a couple of cars behind Martin at the moment, who's going around turn 12. Ennis currently top. It's the 2 Red Bulls followed by the 2 AlphaTauris, so the cost drivers are right in the mix for overall honours. We're watching Martin as he comes around Stavelot, and he's 4 seconds up, so this is a great lap from Martin. This could really vault him up the order for the Invictus Racing team, and that's Sanko who does a 54.2. He goes even quicker. Didn't catch JPH's sector time. We will catch Nitro's. And he's 2.7 seconds up, so he's gaining time, but not as much as Martin. It's a 53 for King Papa. The times are falling all the time. What's Martin going to do? He goes provisional pole. Great effort from the Alpine. And Gio is out, and he's crashed at the Les Combes sector at the top of the straight, so he's out of it. He's not going to improve. JPH will, and that's a 156.2. He moves into the top 10, and Nitro Gas gets up there to 4th. He sees the checkered flag, so no more time for Nitro. Martin will have potentially another lap, providing he doesn't run out of ERS. Let's have a look to see where everyone else is at the moment. One of the AlphaTauris, X427, has just crossed the line. We'll look to see the 2 Aston Martins, whether they can improve. It's VMVJs. I'm going to call them J from now on. He gets on the brakes, stamps on them into 3rd gear. He's going to come across the line. And that's a great effort. He goes pole with a 3 thousandths of a second quicker than Martin. 2 spell wizard. He'll be the next driver to cross the line. He's just coming around the final left-hander of the track. It won't be pole, but it will be an improvement. Gets him up to 9th for the moment. What about Ennis? He was on pole earlier. He was with his teammate. This is looking like a great effort from the Mercedes. And it is. It's a 152.6. Good effort for the Mercedes team. Can Sanko improve up to second for the Alfa Romeo? There's going to be a couple of cars. That's King Papa who comes across the line to third. So the League of Ireland getting their drivers up in the top 5 now. And then Lucky Nut, and then Spider-Man is fastest of everyone. The conditions continue to improve. What about JPH? He's a little bit further back. Is Martin going to be able to respond? He does. He goes to second. Good effort from him. You got one of the Red Bulls coming across the line. I think that's Cam Tizzle, the first to go on the intermediates. He's ended up 10th in the end. JPH will be the last driver to improve. It is going to be an improvement. That looked like he was, I want to say 10th, 11th, and it was 11th. So, great effort from the drivers. How exciting that was then in the final few minutes. All the drivers just improving towards the end, but it was Spider-Man in the Ferrari. One of the League of Ireland drivers is on pole. Then it's SFR Martin from Invictus Racing League in second. Ennis is third for ERO. And then Sanko is fourth, with King Papa and Lucky Nut. All three of them are, of course, League of Ireland. Then next up, you've got VMVJ, who is 7th in the Alfa Aston Martin. Matty Robbo, Lee Webb and Cam Tizzle round up the top 10. JPH and Nitro very close together in 11th and 12th. You've got 2Spell and X427. Geo, of course, crashing out in the intermediate conditions towards the end. And Ginger Tiger sadly didn't get a lap on the board thanks to going off at La Source. Well, well, well. So the drivers now, they'll be pumped up and ready. The adrenaline will be flowing. They have to now get themselves ready for this race. We don't know what the weather conditions are going to be, but they are sunny and looks like a little bit of cloud over, a little bit of overcast maybe. Whether we'll get any rain in this 50% race, we will soon find out. And just to segue for a moment, do make sure you come and have a look at Invictus Racing League if you haven't signed up for Season 17 already. We have the qualifying events coming up soon, and we'd love to see you racing with this fantastic organisation. If you want to improve, hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, okay. So it just seemed like I had a little bit of an issue with my other headsets. Good job I've got two. But as I was saying, do make sure you come and join Invictus Racing League if you haven't done so already. You know, it's not just about being the fastest driver. It's also about improving, getting involved in a really good community. And you can go and check out, of course, on the website. But we are moments away from the race here at Spa, and the drivers will be going out now for their formation lap. And looks like it's just a fine launch for everybody, just getting themselves in that zone that they need to be in. Let's have a look at the tyre strategy, will be quite important. So the two on the front of Spider-Man and SFR Martin on the softs, you've got Lucky Nut and Lee Webb. So expect those four drivers to pit a little bit earlier than the rest of the grid. Ennis, Sanko, in fact everybody apart from JPH outside of the four soft drivers, they're on the mediums. JPH has decided to go for the hard tyre strategy. He did something similar earlier on in a pre-season event that we had at Invictus Racing League earlier in this week, and he's going to try and see if he can extend that strategy once again. But as I was saying, Invictus Racing League, definitely come and check it out. I've got the website that you can come and have a look at, all the rules, regulations, how to sign up, it's all on there. But do join us on the Discord as well. You can get an invite and come and check out what we're all about. It's really, really good that you do. For anyone who's never been here before, and if you are new to the channel, do say hello. You know, do put a comment in if you're watching. Would be really good if we could also get some likes on this stream as well. So if you haven't liked the stream already, please do. I know people don't like to plug, but you know, this is a great event to be a part of. It's really good to be able to broadcast and commentate with 3 other very well-respected leagues in their own right. But strategy will be critical around here. Any safety cars that come out can certainly throw a spanner in the works, so the drivers will have to think about that as they're on circuit. I know that Martin, I know that Nitro, JPH and Ginger, they're all in a party session together, all discussing the strategy options. It's quite a wide range from the Invictus drivers. But Spider-Man won't be thinking about them. Well, he might be thinking about Martin, who's right behind him. He'll be thinking about how he can get the best launch out of the first race start for the evening. The only race start of the evening, we hope, as long as there's no red flags. But Spider-Man pulling himself into the grid box. Martin doing the same, and all the other drivers now are getting inside. Look at Spider-Man. Look at the angle that Spider-Man has put his car, pointing to try and get across to Martin when they get to turn 1. Rest of the drivers just pulling in. There's Ginger Tiger, the last of the 4 teams and 16 cars. So the race is about to go live here at Spa. And the race is live for all the showcase events. It looks like a good start for SFR Martin. He's going to go around the outside at turn 1. Spider-Man tries to brake a little bit later, and he goes through. Martin leads the way. There's a bit of contact at the back. I don't think there's any massive issues. I haven't said that. The 2 Mercedes have dropped to the back of the field, but it's Martin that leads the way. Spider-Man, Sanko, Jay-Z. We've got Lucky Nut trying to challenge for 4th place in the Alfa Romeo. He's right under the rear wing of the medium shod Aston Martin, but he just doesn't have the straight line speed. Or does he? Can he brake a little bit later at Lake Holm? He goes to the inside line and he's through. And that's the 2 Alfa Romeos up in the top 4. Matty Robbo's there, Cam Tizzle and King Papa fighting side by side. Nitro's right behind them as well, waiting for any sort of chaos. JPH has gone backwards as well. He's lost a bit of time to everyone. There's X427 Lee Webb in the Aston Martin on the soft tyres. Then you've got two Spell Wizard, Gio, Ginger Tiger, JPH, and what happened to Ennis at the start we'll have to find out later on, but it's Martin that leads the way. Let's get a little look at any movers and shakers in the opening stages of this race. There we go. You can see Ennis lost 13 spots, so a nightmare for him. King Papa not having the best of starts either, unfortunately. He has dropped 3 spots. Now the 2 front runners already pulling away, and it looks like Spider-Man's got a little bit of pace in this opening lap. I'm not going to mention the ERS usage, but they look pretty similar at the moment. Then it's the 2 Alfa Romeos, and funnily enough, Lucky Nut is right behind Sanko. I suspect some team orders there later on for the 2 drivers who are part of the League of Ireland. That's King Papa trying to go around the outside of the Red Bull, and he's up into 7th place, so that's a good move. Gio into the pit, so he's got a broken front wing, and that has certainly thrown a spanner in the works for the ERO team. Nitro Gash, 9th place. X427, he's got Lee Webb looking at the back of him. Got a few issues with the timing board that you can see on the left hand side. Jay is definitely not 1 minute 47 behind Lucky Nut. You can see how close he is, right in the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo. A little bit of ERS usage. He goes to the outside for turn 7. Can he brake later? It's going to be very difficult, and sure enough it is. That's X427 side by side with the McLaren and Nitro, and he gets past the McLaren, so he goes up a spot into 9th. Lee Webb now trying to make an overtake, and he is on the soft tyres. Look at this. That's a great little move. He's going to try and go around the outside at turn 11. That is a brilliant move from the Aston Martin. He's into the top 10. That you don't see overtakes at turn 11. It is a rarity, but those soft tyres are working well in these early stages. 2 Spell and Ennis right together. Ginger Tiger just behind them as well. Oh, I think Ennis went into the back of him, and look at Ginger trying to go around the outside at turn 14, but he's going to try and brake a little bit later. He's on the curb at Stavelot, but he didn't have the momentum coming off the corner. So the McLaren just slots in behind. 2 Spell Wizard's going to struggle to defend, of course. Spider-Man leads the race as well, just as I was saying that. He's got past SFR Martin, he's in the lead, and now the DRS system is activated. That's the drag reduction system. So that rear wing slot will open, and King Papa with the fastest lap of the race on the medium. So that's very impressive from the Ferrari driver. His teammate leads at the front. But Spider-Man's going to be vulnerable a little bit here to the Alpine. And Sanko's also within DRS, so don't rule him out yet. We're on board with the Alpine. He's going to close that gap right up to the Ferrari on the inside. And that should be moved done on the brakes. It is indeed. And he's into the lead of the race. So 2 swaps for the lead already in these opening 3 laps. Sanko on those medium tyres keeping up really well, has to be said. He's got some speed, and that's Gio in the pits again, unfortunately. So he is stone dead last. He'll have to hope for a safety car. Lucky Nuts then holding up what seems to be quite a queue behind him. He's got Jay-Z, he's got Matty, he's got King Papa, who's just picked up a time penalty on the exit of turn 11, so that won't help his cause if there is a safety car later. And Cam as well, just on the edge of that train of cars. So 5 cars separated, and that's Jay trying to go around the outside, but Lucky Nut just shows him the door. He can't find a way through, but that is a yellow flag out on circuit. That is Lee Webb, who's gone off. He has rejoined. He's had a little moment somewhere. He's not dropped behind JPH, but he's on the back of the queue, so he'll have to try again. Jay-Z right under the Italian rear wing of the Alfa Romeo. We'll watch it on board of Kim Papa. Whoa, Matty Robbo, I should say, he's weaving all over the track trying to find a way through. And he's actually left the door open as Jay, but that almost got a little bit too messy. And that's Jay up to 4th place. Looking up right in 5th. I'm looking at the front. The gap at the lead is coming right down. So you're going to have to skip back to the lead group because they are going to be in a DRS train. And you feel that Martin is going to get blasted past by definitely Spider-Man, but whether Sanko can close that gap as well. There is Spider-Man on the inside. That's a straightforward regulation move with DRS. Sanko not close enough. But here comes Lucky Nutshot for 4th place. Matty Robbo trying to go through as well. Wow, how close was that? Little bit of contact between Matty and Jay. Jay still on the inside in the Aston Martin, and that's going to allow King Papa to go past Matty Robbo as well. They're side by side through Bruel. But Matty Robbo isn't giving up, and King Papa has the position. And it's all change in the fight for 4th. But Lucky Nut is the man who still holds on to that 4th place despite everything going on around him. Fantastic racing in this showcase event so far. Absolutely brilliant. Take a breath, ladies and gentlemen. This has been absolutely relentless in the opening 4 laps. Lots of action already. You can see Lucky Nut. Just there, Sanko right on the back of Martin. I'm just going to skip forward just a little bit just to see how close he is. They're all line astern. I don't think they're going to make a move into the bus stop chicane. I can't imagine that'd be the case. They're a little bit too far away. As we go back, that's King Papa going round the outside. Can he get it stopped on the brakes? He can. And he's going to have DRS as well. And Lucky Nut's going to fall backwards. Jay gets a little bit of wheel spin on the exit of turn 20. He's going to go through, I think, but there's Cam Tizzle on the inside. Lucky Nut's going to go from 4th to 7th at this rate, and he has done. He's going to have to use DRS to good effect, but these 5 drivers all fighting so hard. If King Papa can't get away, it'll allow the rest of the pack to come right back up, and they'll fight forever. And here is Jay. Little bit of DRS from the Ferrari, so Jay to the outside on the approach to Les Combes. He's braking a little bit later on the medium tyres, a little bit of contact. Just about survive, a little wiggle for Jay. And that was really important for King Papa to stay in front. He looks like he's got some speed in that Ferrari. He wants to go and support his teammate up front in the lead. The question is now, can the Ferrari pull away from the rest of the group? He's got about 6 tenths already. It's just a case of whether he can extend that advantage out to over a second. Otherwise, he'll have to keep fighting. Lucky Nut's just sort of falling away a little bit in the last couple of corners. Still within DRS. Matty there as well. Ennis has joined in the party. X427, Ginger Tiger, they're all very closely. IRL drivers just on the back of this group, including Nitro, of course. Don't forget JPH a little bit further back, but he's on a different strategy. Sanko really closing in the gap for the spot for second place. Alfa Romeo looking exceptionally quick. In fact, all of the drivers from the League of Ireland are looking especially competitive. Ooh, little wiggle. That's Ennis on the inside for the chicane, but Matty Robbo fights back. A bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Ennis had to back out of that. So the driver's starting to get the elbows out. They're trying not to let anybody through. There's a yellow flag. That's Lee Webb who's gone round again, unfortunately. Race hasn't gone particularly to plan for him. But we wait to see how the DRS trains will affect the drivers. This is Sanko right behind the Alpine. Cam Tizzle has just blasted past Jay. And they're very close to King Papa. So King Papa can't relax. He can't quite pull away from the cars behind. But these three have managed to split that pack in half, because Lucky Nut is now out of DRS range from Ennis, Matty Rob, X427 and Ginger Tiger. So we've got a new 5-car battle for 7th place instead of 4th now. Ginger Tiger just picking up a penalty there on the exit of turn 11. Not ideal for the man in 11th place. The front three seems to be rocking away quite well at the moment. King Papa's kind of taking Cam Tizzle and VMVJ with him. Lucky Nut still hanging on. Very combative as the Alfa Romeo been so far. He's really made sure he's fought hard for those places. It's great to see. There's been some brilliant racing so far, and he's opening 6 laps. But he's got Ennis on the outside. He brakes later in the Mercedes and he goes through. That's a very clean overtake from the Mercedes driver for ERO. And Matty Robbo's gone past Lucky Nut as well as we watched that. Are those soft tyres starting to fall away a little bit? We are at lap 7. We're effectively at the 3rd point of the distance. The 3rd as in 1/3 of the race distance. X427 right there. Ginger Tiger in 11th place. Nitro Gash has joined in that fight as well. He's outside of DRS, but he's right there for any carnage. Sanko to the... Oh, he has a little look. And that's a McLaren round. I think that's Nitro Gash who's gone round, and that's a virtual safety car. I think Nitro Gash has gone off at Eau Rouge. Let's see if he's got any data. And he has. He's got a completely broken front wing, and it's a full safety car. So this kind of saves Nitro Gash's blushes a little bit here. But as I said before, the strategy will be critical from this point forward. We've still got 14 laps after this, but the drivers who are on the softs, they'll be pleased with this safety car. It's a chance for them maybe to go to the hard tyres. JPH, he'll have wished the safety car came a little bit later. He'll want maybe to go to the medium tyres. Maybe he'll decide that plan. But that's certainly kept him in the race. It's going to bunch everybody back together. And we can skip forward because Martin and Spider-Man will be the 2 happiest drivers on the grid. They'll want to pit at this point, maybe put the medium tyres on to the end, and Nitro Gash picks up a 3-second time penalty under the safety car and with a broken front wing. So, unfortunately, the 2 McLaren drivers for Invictus Racing League have got penalties, and oh no, it's gone from bad to worse. Nitro Gash got a drive-through penalty as well, so that is a nightmare. Going to watch the drivers at the front though. Will they pit? No, they decide to get... Martin does, so Martin's going to get a new set of boots on. Everybody else, of course, the medium drivers, they're planning on staying out a little bit longer. Jay's come into the pits, and he's on the medium, so I imagine Jay will go to the hards. That's one of the McLarens, that's Ginger Tiger in, so a couple of drivers electing to do that now. Nitro Gash definitely will go to the pit. I'm just wanting to see what JPH does, and yep, he is in. And JPH has a broken front wing as well, so JPH can get another set of tyres and the front wing change. The Aston Martin comes in. So Spider-Man still stays in the lead of this race. He's decided not to pit, and the safety car has picked him up now. And the rest of the grid just bunching up to the back. So Sanko, Cam, King Papa, Ennis, all right there. Martin has gone for the soft tyres again, so he's going to two-stop. As are the rest of the field, apart from Lee Webb, who has chosen the medium tyres, but he was already on the softs, so that is less of a surprise. But clearly the driver's feeling that the soft tyres can last 12 laps around Spa. I know that the pre-season event that was held by Invictus Racing League earlier this week, there was some very interesting strategy, and it did seem that the soft tyres lasted a little bit longer than what we were expecting, and we know that the mediums can go to around lap 14, lap 15. So maybe the softs can be pushed to the edge, and that's Lee Webb overtaking Nitro Gash. Not really certain what's happened between the two of them, but there we are at the moment. But for those that are just joining, thanks for putting the comments in. Do like, of course, if you're watching. Just put a little like on the screen. Really be great for the channel and good for our community. But just a reminder of the IRL drivers, where they are in position. You've got SFR Martin, who was fighting for the lead earlier. He's pitted. He's now in 8th position in the Alpine. You have Ginger Tiger up from the back of the grid. He started 16th. He's now 10th. Also on the softs, you have JPH in 13th and Nitro Gash in 15th place. But there's a lot of intrigue yet to come in this race. You know, for the drivers that haven't yet pitted, when are they going to start struggling with their tyres later on? And can the soft shod runners, those red Pirelli tyres, can they make a difference in these next few laps? Just a couple of comments that have come in live from the stream. Daryl enjoying the racing. Lee, it is. And Carl, hello Carl. Good to see you. He's one of the League of Ireland friends from League of Ireland. Your boys are doing a good job so far. They've been right in the sharp end of the grid. Spider-Man Sanko in particular looks like he's got some exceptional pace on those medium tyres. But your guys doing very well at the moment. For those that just need a quick refresh, the League of Ireland drivers are in the Ferraris and the Alfa Romeos. That's Spider-Man Sanko, Lucky Nut and King Papa. You've got the ERO team, that's the Mercedes and the Aston Martins, which is GRS Ennis. You have VMVJ, you also have Lee Webb and Gio. And it's good news for Gio, this safety car, because he was very far behind, so we'll see a chance later. And that is rain. We have rain here at Spa-Francorchamps. Now, how quickly will this fall down? Now, this is just going to jeopardise everyone who's just pitted and lost track position. That's going to cost them in terms of the time lost under the safety car, the positions they've just lost. And if it does get heavier and the other drivers in front who are yet to pit, if the tyres last long enough and it gets wet enough for them, they can pit straight away. So they have gained a good few positions there. But again, this is Spa. Anything can happen at this wonderful Belgian circuit. Anything can indeed happen around here. The other teams I've got, I just want to also mention Contest of Speed. I was talking about the Aston Martin and the Mercedes for ERO. Also just briefly mention the Alpha Tauri and the Red Bull drivers, X427, Two Spell Wizard. And then you got the two Red Bulls of Cam Tizzle and Matty Robbo. Now, Cam Tizzle's one I'm going to keep an eye on, because earlier in the qualifying session, as the safety car is in this lap, so the drivers will now have to fend off the fight for themselves and get themselves ready for this restart. But Cam Tizzle was the first driver in the qualifying session to go from the wets to the intermediates. He timed it perfectly. So I'm curious to see if he will be the guinea pig that will go to the intermediates later on. Might not, he might decide against it, but we will see. The question is, when does that green helmet Spider-Man go off into the distance? When does he get the best launch? He's on a good set of tyres as well, and you can see the conditions are getting worse by the moment. Just going to watch it. I'm going to watch from on board with Sanko. The safety car has just pulled into the pits and Spider-Man's gone. As I say that, puts the throttle down. Everyone just a little bit tentative into the bus, and they're all just piling into the pits. So clearly these conditions are too wet, but the problem is that there's going to be a bit of double stacking. King Papa has decided to carry on. Whether he can make those tyres work in these conditions, I don't know. Ginger Tiger, X427, JPH, those four have all pitted. Now, the question is, look at the pit lane, it's so busy. That is Sanko out of the pits, but he's kind of delayed his teammate. But Spider-Man is the first to get out of the pits. He ran over the exit curve there, but he might just get away with that. Intermediate tyres on. I think Nitro Gas has put the soft tyres on again, and I think that's caught him out. I don't think he was meant to do that. So the drivers, look at this, that's Ginger Tiger and X427, contact, to get away with it. He just about survived for now. But let's watch these sector times. Spider-Man now going into Lake Com. He has gained a couple of attempts. In fact, there's more than a couple of attempts. He's gaining corner by corner. So the four cars out in front, they're going to lose so much time for the rest of this lap. King Papa is going to drop right down. If we look at the gaps at the moment, typically a pit stop around here, about 18, 19 seconds, well, maybe even a little bit longer. I said, say 21 seconds around Spa. It's going to drop him right the way down as Lucky Nut going around the outside at turn 11. Two overtakes at turn 11. That is a rarity, but Matty is not giving up. He's on the inside for P1. We're going to watch on board the two spell, and Lucky Nut around the outside at P1. That's a fabulous overtake from the Alpha. Really good racing between those guys. Everyone else just a little bit spread out, but Spider-Man can see the dry compound drivers, and he's just going to go past to say thank you. Yeah, I don't think there's much that JPH can do. They're just weaving left and right. But these guys, unfortunately, are going to drop right the way down. Nitro Gas, sadly, is also going to drop right down. He's on the wrong compound. Oh, X427 can't stop. He's gone flying off the road. He's going to have to do a full 180, and that's a Red Bull round as well. That's Cam. And into the pits. Oh, JPH just about getting it stopped in time, but that's Jay being overtaken by Martin, who's on the right-hand side of our screen, and Ennis can't do anything as well. A little bit of contact between the two teammates from ERO. Ennis was trying to get a better shot out of the corner, but he didn't realise Jay was there. And Martin got two for the price of one, so he's up to fourth position. Or rather third position, because Jay is in fourth. A little bit of ERS usage from the drivers behind. No drag reduction system, of course, don't forget. Look at the closing speed from Jay up to 211. He's going to try and brake a little bit later. He locks the rear tyres. Just about holds the car. That could have been a huge accident, but good car control from the Aston Martin. But Martin is trying to hang on for a podium for IRL. The two drivers from League of Ireland, Spider-Man and Sanko, running up at the front, almost 4 seconds clear of this next group behind. Then you've got Lucky Nut, who has been the most defensive driver of the day, and he's now got to deal with Matty and the other Red Bull of Cam behind him. Two spell, Lee Webb. Look at Lee Webb's all over the back. That's going to be up the inside for the right-hander at 13 at Campus. A little bit of wheel banging between the two, but they go through that, no problem at all. But Lee runs wide. He's still on the inside for the turn 15 at Stavolo. He holds his line. It's going to be awkward to get round this corner, though, where Lee is. And here comes Gio. That's why I cut to him. He got the best momentum of the three. They're trying to go three wide, but that's not going to happen. And Gio, similar to Martin, is going to get two overtakes for the price at one. And he's through at Blanchimont. Great bit of racecraft from the Mercedes to go into the top 10. Oh, Lee almost running into the back. That's Lucky Nutshot going into the pits. Oh, and Lee Webb gets he had a little wobble, and then he got another touch from Lucky Nut as they went past. Now there's a couple of drivers in the pits. Ennis, does he have, is he going to get, no, it's another set of intermediates, so not quite certain. New front wing for Ennis, that would explain it. That contact at turn 1's clearly cost him. That was Gio rather, his teammate. Skip forward because Jay is all over the rear spoiler of that Alpine. He's going to look to the outside line at Lecom. He can't go through. Martin just shutting the door on him. Reed, ooh, a little wiggle from the Alpine in front. Lucky Nut going up to 8th place. He's fighting with Two Spell. And he stays in front of the AlphaTauri for now, but Two Spell trying to go up the inside at Bruel. Oh, that's late. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. I'll get away with it. The outside of turn 11. I've never seen so many overtakes at turn 11 today, but not this time around. Two Spell is still there. They're going to be level going into Pouon. He's going to go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo. They lean on each other and he's through. Great racing. Very combative, but it is... Oh, look at this from Lucky Nut around the outside. Once again, who wants the best line through here? And Lucky Nut can't make it stick. But he's not giving up. This is brilliant. Oh, he gets on the curve. That's going to cost him time. Lee Webb trying to get advantage of that, but he couldn't go past. This is brilliant racing. Absolutely brilliant to watch. The midfielder giving us a treat. Jay briefly got past Martin, but Martin blocked him off. But because of these two fighting, the lead, as Lee gets a penalty and the other Aston Martin, we're on board with his teammate Jay at the moment. But these two fighting so hard, it's actually allowed the two from League of Ireland to pull away. There's Gio right behind Cam Tizzle. And Gio, don't forget, he broke his front wing earlier. Safety cars pulled him right back into this. King Papa, can he get past Lee Webb? And he does indeed. The Ferrari looked very quick before, and he's going to go past his fellow League of Ireland driver, and Lucky Nut will do what I think he does, slots in behind, and he's just going to use the little bit of ERS to just stick in behind the Ferrari. Gio has got past Cam for 6th. The Aston Martin can't quite get close enough, and that's really good teamwork between the island team drivers of Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. They've worked well together so far this evening. But they are all 4 from the League of Ireland are in the top 10. It's really competitive from those guys. They're doing a great job. You got a couple of drivers from COS in the top 10 as well. You got Cam, Two Spell and Matty Robbo. One of the Mercedes from ERO, Gio, in 6th, and then the IRL driver of Martin. In 3rd place, still fending off Jay. I imagine that the front two, with them being teammates, despite not being in the same car, I imagine that these two are going to run line astern for a bit until they're far enough ahead from Martin, and then they can start fighting for the race victory. Matty Robbo's closing the gap on the front. The battle for the final spot on the podium as well. But King Papa, he's looked very quick today. Got caught out by the weather conditions before and had to do another lap. He's got so much confidence, but he gets that wrong with Two Spell. Can't go through like that, Sunshine. And sure enough, Two Spell's just blocking the door. He's left it open a little. Two Spell remains in 8th place. He won't be too pleased about the contact. Lucky Nut still fending off Lee Webb, who's ducking and diving and has a little bit of wheel spin on the exit. Ginger Tiger and JPH up the, well, was defending from Ennis, but that's really good racecraft from the Mercedes. Up to 13th. He goes through. King Papa, second time of asking, can he get past the AlphaTauri in front of him? The answer is no. He slots in behind, and the front two are now 5 seconds clear of Martin and the battle for 3rd place. But we follow this fight for 8th place. It's the closest one on circuit. King Papa just showing his nose to the AlphaTauri, and you can see how close they get around the sector 2, dropping down. It's a very steep gradient at Spa if you've never been before. But the exit of turn 11 and into Pouon is very, very steep. Can cause a lot of drivers difficulty in these weather conditions, which look like they're getting heavier I have to say. This is a 4-car fight for 8th place at the moment. And you can see two spells just hanging on at the moment, trying to hold on to this 8th position. But King Papa looks like he's got some pace. He's closing that gap right down, but there's going to be no chance here at Blanchimont. And he runs a bit too wide, actually, almost way too wide. And he's not going to have a chance on the exit of the bus into the bus stop, so he'll have to try and get a better line. Oh, runs into the rear diffuser. That's Lee Webb. Past Lucky Nut. He's gone into the pits. Keep an eye on what he does. Papa to the inside. Atlas Source. He's been looking at this move for a lap or two now, and he takes the position, and he's got the momentum on the exit. He is up into 8th, and Lucky Nut has gone for the wet tyre, so he's going to be the guinea pig of everybody else. X427's coming in, so I did mention it looked as if it was getting wetter out on circuit. So Lucky Nut deciding to be the first driver to do that. Gio all over the back now, so Gio has also joined this little group fighting for the podium, although having said that, Martin has pulled away from Jay by about 1.5 seconds, but Gio looks very, very quick in this Mercedes. Little bit of ERS. Can he go through? No, it's more very difficult to go through on the inside of Pouon. I'm just watching the gaps for those drivers who are on the wet tyres, how they're getting on. But Gio has set this up nicely. He's got a nice smooth application of the throttle, and he's up to 5th place. And he's got his ERO teammate just next to him. I was going to say Koss, but that's not the case. Koss, of course, just been overtaken. And Gio looking all ready to try and get 4th. He's got a good exit. Aston Martin trying to sort of limit the opportunity to go through, and he can't. Can he wait for another corner? He won't be close enough, I don't think, on into the final 2 corners. And that's Spider-Man, the race leader, and Sanko going into the pits. Martin carries on, as does Gio. That was very tight between himself and Jay. A little bit of oversteer from those two. So Martin leads the way for Invictus Racing League. Then it's Gio in 2nd place, who is, of course, the ERO, the European Racing Organisation driver. Everyone else, though, into the pits, getting on a set of wet compound tyres. Lucky Nut has closed the gap to Martin, or rather, I'm looking at the gaps from earlier. And Lucky Nut certainly looks like he's got those tyres working to good effect. Where does he come out relating to everybody? Well, he's going to come out in front, potentially, of King Papa on the exit, but Lucky Nut will have the overspeed, and he's back into 8th place. So that was really well timed from the League of Ireland driver in front of his teammate, who overtook him before. You can tell that the wet conditions, that's what they are now, with the remaining 6 laps of this race to go. Now, having said that, I'm watching the gap between Spider-Man and Gio, who's currently in 2nd and 3rd. Don't forget, both of them on different tyres. Ginger Tiger is also on the intermediates as well. He's not pitted yet. And Spider-Man is just starting to bring the gap down. Just starting to bring it down. Not by much, but just by enough that it is worth pitting for wet tyres. And that's 2 spell in front of Cam Tizzle. I think Cam might have had a little moment there. But AlphaTauri and Red Bull swap places. Let's have a look at that gap. Spider-Man 7.3 seconds behind Gio. And that gap is coming down. He's took a second out on this lap alone, so it's certainly wet weather tyres now. And I will imagine that the front 2 and Ginger Tiger will pit in a moment. Well, it's been a good race so far. Still a lot of action to go, of course. And Gio has carried on for another lap. So Gio deciding it's not wet enough for him to come in. He's going to try something different. Martin into the pits. Ginger Tiger stays out for another lap. So Gio and Ginger deciding to do something a little bit different today.
But Jay is on the back of the McLaren. He's on the inside at La Source, and that should be moved done. It is, and Jay up into 4th position. And Matty Robbo's got some overspeed. They're surely not going to go side by side, and sure enough, yeah, Ginger Tiger backs out of that one. That is a smart move. Don't want to go side by side in the wet conditions at Spa. It's too risky. Easily have some contact. So King Papa will have to try and work his way back through the field again. Have a look at the situation with the positions. Gio up 14 spots and leads the race, but he's still, I imagine, got to pit because the gap is just coming down. Martin overtakes Ginger Tiger for 6th place. But you've got Jay, who's gone up 3 places, Matty up 3, Ginger Tiger's up 9, but he's got to pit. Two Spell Wizard has pitted, but he's up 3, so a couple of drivers have certainly benefited from this race so far. They've really took advantage of the conditions and the random changes in this race. He had a number of pit stops as well. Don't forget, Gio's had 4 pit stops. He's going to have a 5th, because I cannot imagine that Gio is going to be able to keep that lead of this race. You can see the gap has come down by 3 seconds in the last lap alone. Now the question becomes not a case of survival, but who has got the tenacity and the ability in these wet weather conditions to get past the drivers around them. Matty Robbo very close to the back of Jay. King Papa, I imagine, will go past Lucky Nut. Gio is staying out for another lap. That's really brave from the Mercedes. He's not pitted. I think he's all in at this point. And Ginger Tiger's staying out as well. So these guys certainly hoping, as Lucky Nut now picks up a time penalty, and his League of Ireland teammate King Papa goes past him. There are a couple of fights out on track though at the moment. You've got the top 10, last spot in the top 10. Two Spell, Lee Webb, Cam there in 12th as well. And then Matty Robbo, who looks like he's got some really good pace in these wet weather conditions. He's climbing onto the back of the Aston Martin down the Kemmel Straight. He's not close enough for a move, but Lee Webb will be. Pushing it to the absolute limit. ERS now activated. But he just can't get close enough to the AlphaTauri as much as I thought he would have done. Meanwhile, at the front, Spider-Man has caught Gio, and Gio doesn't even bother trying to fight it. He is doing something different. So Spider-Man leads the race once again. Sanko will be the next driver to catch up to the Mercedes. Matty Robbo all over the back of Jay. And don't forget, you know, Jay earlier was fighting with Martin, so Martin's now closed this gap in the wet conditions. So it's a 3-car fight for what will probably end up being the last spot on the podium. Matty looks very quick. Contest of Speed, ERO, that's the European Racing Organisation, Invictus Racing League, all together on spot. And here comes Martin. He's got a very good exit out of turn 16. He's got ERS. He goes through, and there's not much Matty could do about it. Good racecraft from the Alpine, and he's up to 5th. It's exactly what he needed. Gio going again. So Gio, oh, wow! Wow, what an overtake from Martin. Jay got it all locked up. He had the rears all over the place. And Martin said, thank you very much, kind sir. I'll take 4th place off you. And Matty Robbo just got caught out by it and slid off the road almost in sympathy, really. So great overtake for Martin. Fabulous move. He's up to 4th. And King Papa fighting with Ginger Tiger, who's not going to give him any room. Ginger Tiger is committed as ever on the intermediate tyres, but I'm imagining he's going to have to concede into the Eau Rouge area. He does. He just hits the limiter. Oh, he runs a little bit wide for good measure. It's a question of whether Ginger Tiger can survive and stay in the points now. But Martin up to 4th, and he's got 6.6 seconds he's got to find on Gio. If Gio manages to score a podium, that would be an incredible battling performance. But it's a case of whether he does, as JPH picks up a time penalty, down in 14th place. Strategy not really working out for JPH this evening. Matty Robbo finds himself behind Jay once again. There's also Two Spell who's fending off Lee Webb. Oh, Lee running a bit too wide. Don't forget, Lee has a time penalty as well, so if he does get past Two Spell, he's going to have to pull away. Let's have a look at what those penalties are. 6 seconds worth of penalties. Big wobble from looking up through the corner. No! Contact between the two. That is Lee and Two Spell. They got into the back of one another through Puon, and that, unfortunately, it's a virtual safety car and a reset to track from Two Spell, which I'm not sure if that's allowed. But that's a broken front wing for Lee. It's a broken front... I can't quite tell on Two Spell's car. He might have a broken front wing. But that's a shame. It was playing out to be such a good fight, but those two, unfortunately, running into one another, and they both went into the wall. But that is a virtual safety car. Lee will be hoping that that stays out for long enough so he doesn't lose too much time in the pits getting a new front wing. Now, will Gio or Ginger Tiger take this opportunity to pit? I didn't think they would. And Jay's picked up a 20-second time penalty for speeding under the VSC. A drive-through for Cam. Oh dear, it's all gone right. And Martin's got a 20-second time penalty. So, nightmare for those two. That's really unfortunate, but those two have got penalties, and that means Matty Robbo, right on the back of the Aston Martin, he's got using all of his energy towards Lecom, moves to the inside line. He's going to brake probably a little bit later, is he? No. Oh, but a big wobble from Jay. They're squeezing one another against the curbs. Oh, they make a little bit of contact as well for good measure. But Jay is going to be on the outside. He's going to have to be brave if he wants to hold this move, and he isn't quite brave enough. And that is Matty up into 5th position. Gio is just going to keep going backwards, I feel, because Martin is now 2.5 seconds behind. He does have a 20-second time penalty, unfortunately. Yeah, he does. And Ginger's got a drive-through as well. So it's not really worked out for those three. I'm not quite certain what's happened there. And there's Jay. And oh, another wobble from Jay. Around turn 13. At Campus. We've got King Papa. He's on his own now, really, at this point. Ginger Tiger. Everyone seems to have just spread out a little bit. Lee is back in the thick of things. And he has got a new... Has he got a front wing? I don't think he has. Let's just have a quick look as he comes around Campus. No, he hasn't got a front wing. There's a yellow flag out on circuit. That's Ginger Tiger. Those intermediates aren't working. Can he get him digged out? Yeah, he can dig himself out. That is going to put an end. Oh, and he can't get the car going as well. And he's back in the wall. Lee Webb's going to struggle to fend off JPH. He's got no proper front wing element. Does that mean that Two Spell is in 10th place? Will JPH go to the outside line? He does. Lee just fighting, and that's Ginger Tiger disqualified, which is a bit unfortunate if he's got stuck as Martin moves into 3rd place. We are on the penultimate lap, ladies and gentlemen. Ginger Tiger is out. Been a bit of an unfortunate showing for him this evening. Plenty of pace, but hasn't been in the right place at the right time. But Two Spell Wizard could be on for a finish in the top 10. The two cars, even if they get past them, have got time penalties. 6 and 3 seconds respectively. So the Alpha Tauris of Kos could be getting themselves 2 cars in the top 10, which would be great news for them. We will wait to see, of course, because those 20-second penalties will certainly be applied. But that is the closest fight on track. Nice switch back from JPH. He's going to be on the outside. He should go through. Lee can't really fend that off. And JPH moves into 11th position. He's got Two Spell just in front. Oh, Two Spell is struggling. JPH definitely looks the more confident of the two drivers. And Cam has closed up as well. Something's happened a little bit with the audio. I'm sure you can hear that. Riding with the drivers on board. Sounds like they've been angered by the gods. Cam goes past for 12th place. Lee's front wing damage, unfortunately, has really ruined his race. What can JPH as we go on to this final lap? And Spider-Man is just 4.352 miles away from winning this race. JPH is trying everything he can to get past the AlphaTauri in front of him. And now he's got a moment to do so. But he isn't quite alongside enough as I thought. Martin has closed the gap right up to Sanko as well. Martin showed some incredible speed on the wet weather conditions. He's up to third. I don't know if he'll be close enough to try a move on Sanko, but... Oh, that is Cam Tizzle. He's facing the wrong way before he even got to the chicane. Did he lock the rear tyres, I wonder, going into the corner? And Nitro Gas is going to get him for 14th. Two Spell still fighting with JPH, but I think JPH would have had the drive. It's a yellow flag. That's the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo. That's Ennis. And Lucky Nut have gone into the wall. It's been a disaster for Mercedes, unfortunately. Here comes Lee Webb trying to make a way through. They all go past. Now we're fighting for the last two spots in the top 10. Lee Webb's got some straight line speed, but he doesn't have a front wing. It'll come down to braking, and Lee just can't brake late enough. But JPH gets it all wrong. He's going to have to cut across the chicane. And he loses that spot. It's all kicking off on this final lap. They all want a point to say that they got their team into the top 10. Lucky Nut's got no front wing. This isn't over yet. There's a fight there. I am going to briefly cut back, though, to the man who has been imperious this evening, racing for League of Ireland. Spider-Man F1 has got 2 corners to go. He's there now. He just has to feather the throttle. And he is going to win the showcase event here at Spa. What a result for the Ferrari driver. Sanko and SFR Martin are second and third, but we'll wait to see where they end up with the penalties. And now we skip back to the fight for 8th place, because there has been an absolute wonderful battle between these guys. They've been fighting so hard. Two Spell is going to finish in front of these guys regardless of what happens. We're riding with X427, who's up to 11th, so JPH has gone backwards. Oh, X427's not got the straight line speed. Lucky Nut's just about hanging on, using all of the track and the rest. Can Two Spell get him? Oh, look how... Whoa! X427 got it all wrong. Well, that's been a dramatic final corner. It's going to be Lucky Nut who's going to cross the line in 8th, but it's Two Spell who gets the spot. Wow. What a great race that was. X427 crosses the line. Cam will be the penultimate driver. He gets 13th. And Ennis, with no front wing, has left the session. Wow. That was wonderful. What an event that was. The showcase event here, broadcast with Invictus Racing League, of course, but also with League of Ireland, European Racing Organisation and Contest of Speed. And there the drivers up on the podium. You've got the Ferrari on the top spot of Spider-Man. He was brilliant all the way through. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that performance and a race win. I'm sure League of Ireland will be especially happy with that. The Ferrari mechanics are ecstatic. And the two Mercedes, or rather the Mercedes in third and the Alfa Romeo in second place. So a 1-2 for the League of Ireland, with Sanko there in second. And all celebrating. But let's have a look at these final positions. So Spider-Man is first, Sanko second, Gio in third place. What a decision that was to stay on the intermediates from Gio. He not only got fastest lap, but that intermediate call was brilliant, and it's got him a podium. Well done to him. That was great racing and great ideal thinking from that man. Matty Robbo in fourth place, the first of the drivers from Contest of Speed. Then it's King Papa, then it's SFR Martin. He would have been in potentially in third place on the podium, but the 20-second time penalty ruined his chances. Jay in 7th position, then it's 2 Spell Wizard in 8th. You also have Lucky Nut, and JPH got a point in the end for IRL. Lee Webb, Nitro Gash for Invictus Racing in 12th. Cam, X427. GRS Ennis is classified despite not seeing a checkered flag, and sadly Ginger Tiger tried something on the intermediates, but it didn't work out, and he got disqualified for being in a dangerous position. Wow. Well, catch your breath, everyone. Take a moment to just acknowledge what a great race we've had here for the showcase event. It's been absolutely wonderful, and if you're craving more action, then good news. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we have another race here for Belgium, and the drivers will be racing around there. It'll be broadcast again with Invictus Racing League and the other 3 leagues, of course. They'll be involved. It'll be JPH, who's been racing tonight. He'll be commentating tomorrow at 8 p.m. British Standard Time. But before I go and before we end the stream here, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me to watch what has been a brilliant set of driving and multitude of class from everybody out on circuit this evening. Difficult conditions, but they all rose to the challenge, and it's been great racing to watch. Now, before I say any more and before I end completely, just do check out the Invictus Racing League website if you haven't done so already, and do join in Discord. The evaluation and qualification times will be coming up that you need to set to join in for season 17, which will start in the coming weeks, and I'd certainly say for everyone, get involved. It's a great community to be a part of. That is that. But I've been Jack TM53, your commentator for this evening. We'll be back tomorrow, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.